Hello guys, welcome to the Trading Parrot. It's roughly 7 AM in UK time. We just put a new all-time high of 76.292 on Bitcoin, and there are a few things that we need to cover this morning that are extremely important. We have touched some levels of resistance. There is very little amount of liquidity in the close proximity, as you can see in here, and sure, it resumes above 80k, but we need to address this particular situation carefully. We are already seeing some signs of erosion in the short term. We are not talking about the end of the bull market, don't worry. We are talking about swing trades. We are talking about areas of potentially having taken profits in here and looking potentially for another entry to once again and efficiently hit the highs. After all, we already hit these ones, and as long as everything goes well with the rate cuts, we could be hitting shortly this. Let's assess how likely is that we can do that. Guys, if you like this type of content, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, hit the notification bell so you get notified every time I put out one of these videos. Yesterday evening video made 351 likes. Thank you so much, guys. That is amazing. Let's continue growing this channel. Your comments make my day. Your likes are making the YouTube algorithm extremely happy, showing the videos to new people. Every day there are comments of people joining, and that's all thanks to the views, the likes, the times you share, retweet, and all of that. Really appreciate it. I'm not gonna cover the monthly, I'm not gonna cover today the spread charts. All of that was covered in the two videos I published yesterday. If you are late to the party and you wanna see what really happened with the breakout of Bitcoin in big detail with a focus on the long term as well, make sure that you don't miss the videos from yesterday. The people I already watched that are gonna get bored if we continue just looking at that. So let's get into the small detail, what's going on right now with the swing trades. And by the way, thanks so much to this comment. It was nice to wake up and read this notification on my phone. It says, I took the Degen entry to 75k. I explained the risks, but I gave you guys the opportunity to take the Degen using the W pattern, the breakout on the 4 hour, and potentially that was gonna be the entry or our best chance to take all the liquidity that we just took. If you haven't been here or you've been living under a rock, this was the W pattern, and this person is celebrating that he managed to write this all the way to 75. That's a pretty good deal, my friend. I watch all of your videos and use Absolutno to help me with my manual trades. Absolutno is an indicator and a strategy that works with PineScript using TradingView. It's my bread and butter for running bots. I am hoping to get a VIP call one day when I'm done working on the oil rigs so I can lock in my new massage career and take my trading to the next level. You are top tier TTP, the best actionable TA out there, and it's awesome to see people from different backgrounds entering into trading. Let's go back to the MACD on the daily, and as you can see, we confirm the bullish cross in here. We kind of reverted the small damage we took in here, and we could say that this breakdown on the MACD was a fake out to the downside. This becomes part of all the fake outs that we were expecting across this whole week. To the upside, to the downside, no signal could be taken really very serious. And the only one apart from these fake outs, which I say I'm not doing anything with them, fake out to the downside, to the upside, and this one in here, I say if you're a Degen, prepare in here for potential last call, I'm a lucky bastard, and get the sniper entry. I say that I'm already loaded, sub 60s, I have enough, and I don't want to spoil my position by adding in here, because I will have to double down to see some changes, and if this was to dump due to the election, that could really hurt my DCA position. And as a swing trade, I wasn't necessarily that keen on the risk of this day, as I express in my videos, but I gave you the opportunity to decide whether you wanted to take this Degen entry, because I saw some potential in here. I missed it, but I'm happy that some people got the message, and I think with this message that I received, that's the third person that appreciates the entry. The entry pretty much was confirmed at 69 roughly, and it gave 6k upside, which is great, but we need to look into what's going on right now. In the evening video, I started talking both about this triangle. We started placing this as a flag, and we started sniffing for potential resistance. And as usual, I explained to you that we have bearish divergence, potential confirmation in here, and a close below this trend line could give us the idea that there is a loss in momentum. We confirmed that at 1 a.m. on the 7th today, and we have since then made another candle to the downside. So the confirmation was with this candle 4 hour, and at the moment it seems to be holding the support of 74.6. So careful with the people shorting in here, because you are shorting and there's still a bit of leftover at 77k, I think up until 76.8. Just maybe $100 of additional liquidity. The liquidity in yellow is just slightly less than the red. You can see that what we've been taking is 88Ks, 86, 98, 98, and yellow doesn't mean that it's a lot less. It's still 66, 65, 67, 68, 76, 76. So there is something that I call a vacuum in here. We need to find motivation now to the price, for the price to resume the short squeeze that starts once again from 80 into 83 now. But it's not like a full vacuum, right? We have a reduction on liquidity pools here, potentially of 25-30% less than the red, but still extremely juicy. Indeed, this yellow that you see in here is way larger than the liquidity pools that have been attracting the price from the low 60s into 68, which is only blue. You can see here blue is less than green, is less than yellow, is less than red. So what I'm trying to say is, if you are short in here, careful, you might be the super lucky guy that breaks this support and hits the fair value gap in here, which in that case will be really great for the price, not for you. And I mean that because if you break that support, you can take all the fair value gap up until 69.8, which is one of the fattest fair value gaps that we have in all the 8 months. Look at in here. You have this fat fair value gap, that one there, some that we left that we never took below 50s, and now we are leaving this one in here. And that is a typical behavior of fair value gaps during an impulsive move. Does that mean that we are also gonna leave them behind like this? I don't know. It's always attractive for the price to produce that balance. And there is imbalance in here. There is huge imbalance in there. And if we just do some sort of bullish flag, we could continue straight into 80s and 82s. Like for example, in this example, you can see that right after this push, bull flag, and then you get a similar move like this projected straight there. You know, it's almost by the dollar. If we were to do something like that in here, that will look like a bull flag that retraces only to 74.4 to the support, and then it hits straight 84 just because it's a projection of this bull flag. At the moment, the RSI 4 hour has broken down. It's showing that it's losing momentum. That momentum loss could be just touching and testing this support. We need to be on the lookout for what happens once it bounces from that support. What happens against this line? Does it see a rejection, or does it re-enter and produces a high, showing that there is still a lot of momentum and we could be seeing 83 gone in a matter of 1 or 2 days. That will make this movement parabolic, which is something pretty natural after the elections, but for the health of the move, I would prefer that we retest in here, we fail, and we take some of that fair value gap to create better foundations and to not just go to 83 and then having loads of pending work in the downside and having to come back. It's a tricky one. I'm not saying it's not. And a long time ago, I left these targets in here, 76.9 and 92.7. Those levels came from using Fibonacci trend retracements that I did a long time ago in one of the videos. Unfortunately, I removed the Fibonacci, and it's okay. We are today pretty much hitting that. I think the most important level that we need to discuss today is coming from CPR level. As I said, the CPR model says very clearly that if within a month you touch the first resistance, you have higher likelihood than the month after you're gonna have continuation. And if we zoom in here, because sometimes it's very tricky and it doesn't touch the price, like for example, this touching here, we discovered that it didn't touch it, likely a couple of days after we did, and then we broke aggressively. In this move, you can clearly see that we have touched the 76.281. That is where the first resistance of the monthly CPR is, and I gave you a heads up in the Discord of Coin Bureau that this resistance must be respected at least once. For example, in October, we hit it 1, 2, 3 rejections. We came back here, lower, 4, 5, and then we broke above it. Is it gonna be like this in here? I don't know, but it's very frequent that CPR resistance, supports, pivots have some reaction in the price. These are monthly indicators. And I published that when we were touching the level, and so far we are 2.5% down. Still consider a bull flag. It's not a heavy rejection, but in that same level is where we kind of ran out of this liquidity. If we zoom in, you can see that there's just that block left over there with 85k, and I don't know if the accuracy of the tool is perfect by the millimeter. So it could be the case that this is just gone 100% and we just start seeing the yellow blocks left over. It's very difficult to tell because in these candles, as you can see, there's nothing print there. So maybe we just need to wait for the tool to update. The scalping chart at the moment is absolutely useless. It doesn't show anything to the upside, just the 65 that we left in there. The delta doesn't have any updates. We still have upside. If we were that degen that we are expecting this to go to the top of the range, I think we already hit an all-time high today. We hit major resistance. We ran out of liquidity in here. My preference, I keep saying, is to have some sort of cool down, but I am prepared for hitting this at the top. And I think people today are waiting for the outcome of the rate cuts. Of course, that is very important. One last thing, the weekly RSI is at the moment above the resistance. This is weekly resistance, is very important. I will expect that by the end of the week, this closes below the resistance. That is just a finger in the air. I have no clue. This is just based on past experience for me. Typically, price respects these levels after having respected it the full bull run. It's not like you can just ignore it and go parabolic from here. I will say we have chances of that, but are slimmer than respecting it and closing slightly below the yellow line, which in that case, we should be expecting the price to close somewhere lower than this green line in here for the closing price of the week. Now, if by the end of this week we have already taken 83, don't kill the messenger. I'm just giving you my honest perspective on what is more likely, and I'm not trying to read the future. Guys, if you want to trade Bitcoin, altcoins in a top-notch exchange, look no further than Bybit. Bybit has been my exchange for years. I use it for trading bots, for manual trades, and if you use the link in the description to open a new account on Bybit, you get 3 things: the lowest fees, 30,000 maximum in bonuses subject to trading volume, and the option to use your trading volume to get access to all my indicators for free. You can become observer, VIP, VIP with call, any of the tiers in my community that will give you access to hundreds of indicators per selection tools. Have a look at my website, thetradingparrot.com, to see more in detail. If you're looking for a hassle-free exchange, look no further than Bluffin. Bluffin offers you the alternative to not need KYC and not need any VPN from anywhere you're trading in the world. Very convenient. I opened 2 accounts in 5 minutes. I funded and started trading with altcoins, with Bitcoin, and it's cool to be able to keep things separate, to open as many accounts as you need because you don't need KYC. Pretty cool. And 10,000 in rewards is what I have on Bluffin, and lowest fees to trade as well. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.